A massive storm, one of the most powerful on the entire planet this year, has just slammed into a remote part of the United States. We're talking about Super Typhoon Sinlaku, and it's left a U.S. territory in a state of absolute crisis.
So what really happens when a storm of this magnitude makes landfall on American soil? It brings the raw power of nature right to our doorstep. Let's break down what we're learning from the very first reports coming from the ground.
Now, for a lot of people, this part of the U.S. might be a little unfamiliar. We're talking about the Northern Mariana Islands. It's a U.S. Commonwealth, way out in the Pacific Ocean, about 3,800 miles west of Hawaii. And that remoteness, well, that's a huge part of this story.
Okay, let's dive into the storm itself. Our first section, a monster storm strikes.
There is one number that tells you pretty much everything you need to know about this storm's power. 150 miles per hour. Those were the sustained wind speeds when Sinlaku hit. It's hard to even wrap your head around that kind of constant, relentless force.
And yeah, winds that fast put you in a very specific and very dangerous category, a super typhoon. Think of it as the Pacific's version of a Category 4 or 5 hurricane. It is the absolute top of the scale, the most destructive kind of storm there is.
So what does that kind of power actually do to the world below? That brings us to our next part, the path of destruction.
The initial reports coming out of the main islands, Saipan and Tinian, they are painting a truly devastating picture. We're hearing about tin roofs, which are really common there, just shredded, peeled away like the lids on a can. Power lines are down everywhere, and officials are already warning that this could mean weeks, not days, but weeks without electricity. And on top of that, you've got massive flooding, huge trees ripped out of the ground, and incredibly dangerous flying debris.
You know, a list of damages doesn't really capture what it's like to live through it. But this quote from a Saipan resident named Glenn Hunter, it really does. I'm guessing anything that was made of wood and tin did not survive this. Just think about that. He's saying that an entire type of construction, a fundamental part of the island's homes, has probably been wiped out.
The force is just almost unbelievable. One resident, Dongmin Lee, actually captured video from his apartment as the winds lifted a car and just dropped it right on top of two others. That's not just wind, you know? That's like some giant, invisible force just rearranging the world. And it wasn't just the wind. That same resident, Glenn Hunter, talked about the water. He said it was a losing battle because the rain was coming through everywhere. Every house is just flooded with water. It's that 1-2 punch of catastrophic wind and then this relentless flooding rain that makes these storms so incredibly destructive. But here's the thing. To really understand what's happening, you have to know that this isn't some isolated freak disaster. For this community, this is a terrifyingly familiar pattern. This brings us to a community tested again.
I mean, just look at the last few years. In 2018, they were hit by Super Typhoon Yutu, which caused just unbelievable destruction. In 2023, Typhoon Mawar slammed nearby Guam, which was a powerful reminder of how vulnerable they are. And now, Sinlaku. It's just a relentless cycle of getting hit, trying to recover, and then getting hit again.
And you can just feel the exhaustion, the frustration in this quote from Galvin de Leon Guerrero. He's the president of the local college. Just as we were finally beginning to recover and rebuild, we get hit with this. Climate change is real. For the residents, this isn't just a statement about a storm, it's about a much bigger crisis that they feel they are on the front lines of.
Which brings us to our final section, because we have to look at the immense challenges that are lying ahead right now, the uncertain aftermath. Even after the storm's eye is past, the danger is far from over. The winds are still too strong for crews to get out and do a full, safe assessment of the damage. We know about the widespread power outages that could go on for weeks. Over 1,000 people are already in emergency shelters because they've lost everything. And all of this is hitting an economy that was already fragile, still trying to get back on its feet from past storms and the pandemic.
You always hear that the people of the Northern Mariana Islands are incredibly resilient, and their history shows that they absolutely have to be. But when you look at this pattern of devastation, it just leaves you with this really difficult question. We celebrate resilience, and it is a strength. But what's the breaking point? How much can one American community be expected to endure over and over again?